Let's talk about identity, because purpose flows best through the right identity. And you know what? That's why God, every time God calls us to purpose, even if you look at it in scripture, He always begins with identity, who you are, from a place of being before to the place of doing. And most of us always ask, what am I supposed to do? What is my purpose? What am I doing? Instead of who should I become or who am I? Because you will always fulfill why you're here through who you are. And sometimes you could also have the purpose clear, but you haven't embraced the identity that is needed for that purpose to be expressed. Now, think about Jeremiah. The Lord comes and tells Jeremiah that I made you to be a prophet to the nations. He begins with identity. And then now Jeremiah and this is what I love about God. God gives you an identity. An identity is a commitment to certain beliefs, values, decisions. And this is compounded over time. So identity is a combination of your narratives and your standards. Now God begins to come and give Jeremiah the standard of his identity. You are a prophet to the nation. And every time God gives truth, it always challenges the wrong narratives you have of yourself. So Jeremiah begins to say, Lord, I cannot speak. That is a conclusion to say, I don't reach that standard you're telling me, Lord, because guess what? I am a child, I cannot speak. So there's a narrative he has of himself that has lowered his standard of who he really is or who he should become. And so God always begins to highlight and give you the picture of who you really are, so that you can raise your standard to have the same standard that God has. And you do that through the narratives you have, who you believe you are, because whoever you believe you are going to act on. Your decisions are always motivated by your belief system. And so every time, if you're struggling with purpose, begin to ask, do I really know what my identity is, what my true identity is? Do I have the standard? And when God tells you who you are, now there's inner work to do, because unfortunately, I don't know if it's fortunately, unfortunately, there are many narratives we carry that are not aligning with God's standard of who we are. And so every time we think about purpose, think, who am I becoming, so that I can be able to express God's purpose effectively in the world.